This is a really wonderful gathering here. I really appreciate every single one of you who is here on this planet doing your work because that's why we are here. This is a very special lifetime for all of us. Maybe we didn't always know it, but we are now realizing what's happening, and I am just so blown away looking at all the changes that are happening on planet Earth in the field of consciousness and the incredible assistance that we are receiving from all layers of creation, but mainly from the source field, because this is a huge transition from Mother Earth. Let us start with a bit of chanting. If we all can chant Om 3 times really deeply from your soul, create a vibration, and we are doing that for Mother Earth. Mother Earth is part of this cosmic body. She's not separated from it. And when we chant Om, it is a very powerful sound of creation, and it actually repairs the quantum field of reality. And that's what we are really doing here on this beautiful planet. We are repairing her quantum field. And so let us go deep, and the power of the collective, the more of us can chant, the more of a collective frequency we can create in this field. Okay, so go deep within your heart. So when we chant our Om, it really is a magical frequency. I use Om every day, several times, but I also use it in my dream state. And you can use that too when you travel through different worlds, whether it is in your dream body or out of body. Om will always direct you to the highest worlds. It will allow you to transcend all worlds that have low frequency. And when you chant Om with a collective, also if it is in your dream state, if you can find other dreamers and chant Om, you will be able to actually transcend all 11 dream dimensions. And that's very interesting, and I love to share these little tips and tricks. So today we're doing a vibrational activation as always. It is one of my missions here on planet Earth and purpose to be transmitting frequencies. And these do not come through the voice, they come through the quantum field from the light body, that we all have a light body. And each light body has a gift. It's a code. And so my code is to be transmitting through my voice, even though it's inaudible, the frequency. A quick introduction that I always like to do, actually this one is a little longer for a reason. It's really not about me as the human Adi, because that's not really who we are. But for me, I am here on this planet because I came to this earth before, when life was incepted, I don't know if that's a word, on planet Earth. So what we would call the dream time, when nature actually was created. This creation story that the Aboriginals have is a really great story, because it really shows us how these rainbow beings, rainbow energies, bringing life from, you can call it space, so from source, came to planet Earth, and they started to create nature. They came with what we would call the Divine Mother in her rainbow serpentine form. So that was my first coming to planet Earth. And that to me is important, because that means Earth really is important to many of us, and many of us came with, again, what we would call the rainbow serpent, incepting and creating nature. And, you know, I'm also in a way a scientist, and so I understand that we have evolution, and it all just really mixes well together. When you take the non-physical aspect of creation and then the physical aspect of creation, they really match. So they both correct in a way. But life is very mystical, and life is not just physical. Life does have patterning behind what we see as nature. And so for me, I am very deeply connected to source energies. I work with guides that come from source field. And that's not always the case, because it really depends on our origin. And I mentioned that often, that we also have creator beings who create other beings. And so some beings come from source field, some beings were created by other creator beings. And we have what I would call the divine couples, maybe, in the field of creation. And so divine couples, for example, I work a lot with a divine couple called Orin and Daben. And so they are creator beings who can create others. And then you have creator beings like, let's say, even Archangel Michael, that some people call Michael. So he also would be a creator being that can create beings. The way that creation works, that everything is created through the combination of light. So like it is here on planet Earth, where humans create children through DNA, basically from a father and a mother. So the same happens in the field of creation on the non-material level, where beings co-create other beings through a very unique gift of light and frequency. So that's how you actually have original creation. So for me, that's where my guidance comes from. I came to planet Earth several times, but one really important aspect of my journey here, which I think again applies to so many of you, is that we knew that something went wrong on planet Earth. And this is what is not a new story. It actually happened a very long time ago, and it's still happening. And so we came from wherever we really were fully fulfilling our mission. So for me, that was another galaxy, not Milky Way. And we were called into a mission to come to planet Earth again, because either we really had the skills we needed to have, or because we were the original co-creators of nature, and so on. And so for me, that was a call to come here again. So Mother Earth, as you know, there are things that really are out of alignment. Partially, it is really something that humanity as we know it now, and as we knew it, let's say, in the times of Atlantis, they created this misalignment, but it allowed also then this misalignment to become deeper through negative interactions with the rest of our system, which is much larger than planet Earth. For me, I came again to planet Earth when Atlantis was really falling, and when the Great Flood came, and I was part of the society that was connected to Enoch and the Watchers. And we failed when we came here. And so the promise that we made to Source Field, Source Spirit, was that we would come back again this time, and we would make sure that planet Earth will never suffer again. So here we are, and you know, many of you have the same journey. We are here because Mother Earth has been in a state of that misalignment, energetic misalignment, that I will explain later. And that is not good, of course, to be so disconnected from the rest of creation. So as you know, right now, most humans think that there's nothing else, no other life, and that is not true at all. The entire cosmos is absolutely buzzing with aliveness and so many different worlds, but we have no access to them really because of the field we live in now, and that's about to change. For me, I have one more really important memory to share, and that's a memory that prepared me for this lifetime. So I am also part of the Hopi people, the star people, not in this lifetime, but energetically, and that was my reincarnation. And the Hopi people, my grandmother, the Hopi grandmother, she came from the stars, we can call it Pleiades, but they also lived in Atlantis. And she prepared me for this lifetime, and she told me that the most important thing in this lifetime will be to purify the sacred heart. And she gave me an initiation when I was a small child, already embodied in this world. And this initiation took place in Sedona, even though I didn't even know Sedona, but she took me there out of body. And she asked me in this lifetime to remember that we live in a dream reality that is absolutely not real, and that everything that seems to be material is actually completely fluid energy, and that we can penetrate the energy if we stop believing the dream. So I was really small when she told me that, and she asked me to prove my skills for this lifetime. And this is something that is now coming really, that's the great unveiling that Divine Mother speaks about. We are unveiling something really important. And so the skills for all of us, I think, in this lifetime that we right now will need is to be able to accept that what is material is not real, that reality is not real, and that we need to really break open that sacred heart that we have. It's a real chamber in our energetic heart. So we all are here on a mission that serves Divine Mother. Divine Mother, and I don't even want to call her that, because anytime we use words that are often used, we get so used to them, we stop really feeling the truth behind them. So even when we give names to things like, you know, some people call Divine Mother Sophia, then I think that that's not a name that is really her name, because Sophia was a Greek word for wisdom. And when you look at the cosmos and universe, everything is, you know, working in balance and harmony, and there is order to things. So the Greeks call her Sophia. But we need to really experiment with our own feeling into her nature to be able to understand who she is. Divine Mother, if you want to call her that, is really the creation field. Now we have a source field that needed to express itself, as you know, the Big Bang. And source is obviously a conscious source, because all life is conscious. And the way that source had that internal desire to get to know itself in the infinity of possibilities was to actually create out of itself. And so the web of life that surrounds, let's say, source, if you look at it physically in the cosmos, is the field of creation. And the field of creation is the body of Divine Mother. And again, if we want to compare it to like the Gnostics who call her Sophia, she is the mother of the multiverse, not just one universe. And within her body is planet Earth. So we are just a tiny little speck. But it's really important that each speck within the body of Divine Mother is healthy and aligned. Just like you have a body, you would not like to have one finger that is rotting. And so it's the same with planet Earth. That's why it is important that all worlds, all existential planes, just like Earth, are aligned with the harmony of the entire cosmic body of Divine Mother. You know, you can call her Shekinah, you can call her Shakti, you can call her so many different names. And so I hope that makes sense. And again, if you have any questions, you can type them in. I'm going to look at them later, because right now I'm kind of doing a transmission that comes from the quantum field, so I'm not going to read. But we are here because we are creator beings that came from this creation field, and we all are valuable, and we all are about to learn about the truth of our abilities, but also about this big galactic consciousness that we need to embody, because we've been so separated from all of real creation that most people think, you know, we really just live one lifetime. There is not really a big purpose to our lives except for having families, jobs, and make money. And so there is so much more to it. And actually all the things that people think are their purpose on this physical plane are not reality. So let's take a look at it. So we are here really in service. And I look at, you know, the people I grew up with, my grandparents, and I think they obviously, most grandparents were not really conscious of what they were doing. But even they came here just like their parents, and all our ancestors came here. And I'm only talking about the time after the Great Flood, because things really changed with the fall of Atlantis. We have a whole new world, whole new society, and we have fallen deeper into darkness. And darkness meaning unconsciousness. And it is actually our own human unconsciousness. I think we really have to admit that humanity forgot the art of living and the art of loving life. And so we are here now in this time, just like our grandparents came here, to anchor light into the earth. And for example, my inner teacher, Yogananda, who I still work with very like all day long, every day, he was here in the 50s. I think he was born somewhere in the 19th century. But when he was here on this mission. Just like all the big yogis and all the big teachers, they came here with the same mission: to balance human consciousness and to eradicate human unconsciousness. And when he was here, he passed, I think, in 1952. He almost felt that he failed because he was very disappointed with humanity. And that's a big yogi who had a great heart. He was, embodiment of Divine Mother, actually. And in the end, he just locked himself up in his room and didn't want to really have much to do with humans. And that's really interesting, because obviously that means that humans have been failing, and we are not going to fail this time. We are now going through an amazing window of opportunity to actually create this electromagnetic change in the body of Mother Earth. And I know that we have a big group of grid workers who have done an amazing job working on the planetary grid, but now this is a little bit of a different game. So that was important too. But now what Divine Mother actually reveals to us, and all these revelations can really only come because of all the work that our grandparents did, our parents did, all our ancestors since the Great Fall, the flood, have been coming here trying to actually fix the problem. So the problem is really the misalignment. The problem is that the electromagnetic body of Mother Earth was damaged, and I will explain how. But we are recreating this new electromagnetic body, and actually it's much more magnetic than electromagnetic, because love as a physical substance in cosmos, it has magnetic nature. And that makes sense because magnetism is a force of attraction. And so this is Green Tara, and Green Tara is a being that communicates with me and has been communicating since 2017. She is really, I would say, again, it's Buddhism, and we don't need these names, but let's just look at it how it is here in the tradition, is that the Green Tara is the goddess of this world. She is Mother Nature here. She is the planet consciousness. She is the soul of this earth. So she has this rainbow body around her that we can again call the rainbow serpent. It is the perfect source frequency. And what she tells me is that she lost her rainbow body, and now we are recreating it through our own rainbow bodies. And so when her rainbow body is restored, our world will be what we call the new earth. So a complete world, she calls it. When I asked her what is a complete world, and she said, it's a world surrounded by a rainbow light, and it's complete and it's protective. And she said, it can only happen when enough beings who are here in this world embodied in physical bodies and their vessels, when enough of us actually maybe create is not the right word, allow the rainbow body to be flowing through us and emanate from us. And so she can't do it on her own, and we can't do it by doing something that is outside of us. We really have to do this internal work, and I actually personally know that it takes a lot to allow the flow to be complete as a rainbow body. And I actually don't know anyone who has fully activated their rainbow body fully. And for me, it comes in and out. And that's, I think, how it is for most of us. So surely there are some monks in Tibet that have activated their rainbow body and sustained it. Sustaining it is really the key. And eventually, I think this will happen when the big switch, from one reality to the other happens, is when enough of us will get to that place of the rainbow body. And that is the tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. They have one goal, and that is to become the original self. And the original self is just the pure rainbow body. It doesn't have the limitations of the human consciousness, and even better said would be to say human unconsciousness. So this is our mission. Our mission is to activate our rainbow body. This is what the rainbow body looks like when it activates fully. And because it's electromagnetic in nature, it actually completely interacts with the electromagnetic field of the Earth. So when you activate your rainbow body, it actually will change the electromagnetic field of the Earth. Now that's huge. That means that, again, when we have enough of us around the world in this rainbow body like this, then we will create a massive change in the rainbow body of the Earth in the electromagnetic field. And I think that's the magical thing. So I wanted to show Uncle Jesus, just couldn't help it. A little bit of religion can't harm us. So the key to activating the rainbow body is the sacred heart. Now, the sacred heart is something that really is the key. There is nothing else that can activate the rainbow body. There is no way around it. It is an internal architecture. So the sacred heart, I sometimes call it the innocent heart, is the heart that is completely free from any programming, any limitations, any what you could call karma, any scarring, and it's completely free. And it is so free. It's almost like being a child again, but being, a very experienced being. So you are not naive, innocent, but you are innocent and wise and experienced, and you know what you're doing. So now in 2021, our mission is to find this sacred heart and to liberate it, because it is a portal inside of us. And when we open this portal, and some people open it accidentally, let's say they have a lot of sadness actually, and they cry very deeply, then the sadness, as it moves through the body, it actually moves your own rainbow body. Tears are the best way. No, I'm not going to say best way. Tears are a liberating force of the rainbow body. So when we were little and we cried, when, we were sad, then we would be just restoring our rainbow body, because we as kids had it. Some of us, maybe all of us, I don't know. And so this portal within the heart is actually the most important physiology. It's a structure of our energy field. And when it opens, what happens is that the soul of the Earth comes in as what, again, we call the rainbow serpent. She comes into your body through your nervous system, but also through all the channels that are in you, like the energetic channels. And then as she comes to your heart, and your heart is the open portal, then suddenly this other rainbow force comes from source, and you can say from sky. And this is what the yogis described as the dance of Shiva Shakti. And this is what, Christian mystics describe as grace. So grace comes upon you. But I also know that there are tribes, native tribes and African tribes, that describe it as ropes coming down from the sky to you and suddenly reconnecting you to your source. And so this is the alchemical process that we ideally should experience and really work on. So what is creation? Creation as a whole is obviously the energetic creation that comes from source, as what we again call the Divine Mother, Sophia. So here you have her on the left, and she codes reality. She also can be called the spider grandmother, and let me just turn off the video here because we don't need videos. So she is really the one who needs to find every single possibility and option of creation, every expression of creation. And so the goal is to create as many realities as possible within which beings can find their own skills, practice, and expand their own energy field to become better receivers and transmitters of light. So that's pretty much how creation works. It's actually really simple. The only thing is, and this is where we come to planet Earth, that we have dreams, so many dreams within creation. You know, as a being, if I just put you in the field of creation and give you nothing to experience, you will not know who you are. You will not know, you know, how much power you have to create. You will not be creating, actually. You will be just there. So for beings, and we have, you know, zillions of beings in the entire cosmic creation, these beings need to be put inside a game. So we are inside a game, and ideally you want to be in a game that's a little bit, you know, different from the game here. So let's say I encountered beings from Arcturus, and I've encountered them several times, so I can speak for them. High-level beings, super enlightened, you know, translucent light bodies, filled with love, desire for service. And so these beings live in a dream world. Every single world is a dream world. You know, a lot of people channel Pleiadians these days, and I can't speak for that, but you know, let's say Pleiades is another dream world. And so we can't really look up to other dream worlds so much, but we can learn the art of dreaming. So every dream world has different conditions. Every dream world has different, obviously, population. And normally dream worlds attract beings that have similar frequency, because everything in the entire cosmic creation works on this frequency. And that again is something that didn't work so well for us here. So this is the cosmic web. It's a great picture because the entire cosmos is a web. It's really, you know, we can call it the spider web of creation. And the dream worlds within the cosmic web are like nodes of light. But also the beings within the cosmic web are nodes of light. So really where light coalesces, that's where you create either a being or a larger being that we can call a planet or a star. That's why Mother Earth is a being, because she's just a bigger coalescence, maybe is a word, of light. And so within this cosmic web, you want to have harmony, you want to have consciousness, and you want to have awareness, and awareness of the game of life. The thing that Divine Mother told me, and that's something that she speaks about often these days, is that we need to realize this dreaming, and need to realize that beings must dream, but cannot get lost in dreams. Because once you get a world like ours, where beings forget that they are dreaming, then suddenly everybody takes reality as real and gets affected by it, responds to it in the wrong way. So every single world in this cosmic creation and this web of life, really, and I call it life with a capital L because Divine Mother, when she doesn't want to be called names, then she says, call me life with capital L. You know, it's a really great name for her. So loving life is really loving the goddess. And so when we are in this big cosmic web, we have magnetism being really the major force that attracts worlds to each other, that attracts beings to worlds. And so what happened here on planet Earth, you see our electromagnetic field kind of is incomplete because of the way that our poles work. And our poles also, as you can see, our axis of the Earth is not straight, but it's sideways. I don't know exactly the word, but we have a world that is very much connected to us that I can speak of because I visited. I travel out of body and I use the sound of Om and also my own frequency to move through different worlds. And so these are not visions, these are actually experiences, just like I have experiences, you know, in my daily life, or you have. And I know many of you travel too, so that's just simply who we are. We are beings who can travel out of body. And let's say when you go to Venus, which is a completely inhabited world with beings that we would almost call angelic beings and healer beings, you will find that to enter Venus, you actually have to be in a certain frequency. So for us, entering the Earth, you know, when you look at our collective humanity, our collective consciousness, you obviously don't have to be a highly evolved being to come to planet Earth. And that is what really caused some issues that we have here. So going to Venus, I think it's a great example. Venus has a planetary field, which is completely high frequential. It is maintained by the beings who reside in Venus. And these beings, each one of them is responsible for their own frequency, for their own light body. And so it is collective integrity for all beings to actually work on themselves and constantly improve their light body, their ability to heal, their ability to work with light. That creates this protective shield around Venus, and visitors can only enter if they match the frequency of or have higher frequency. So it is like a natural lock that no one can unlock unless they match the frequency. Now, this is genius when you think about it. So these highly evolved worlds have achieved such collective coherence where all beings resonate with each other on this collective level, and no one would actually, you know, allow their frequency to drop or the vibration or the light, because it would damage the collective. So they have very high level of unity consciousness, and that's again what we're going to do here on planet Earth. So I hope this helps. Divine Mother would love us to really understand it 2021, something that might be disturbing to so many of us. And really, I think it's the biggest mind twisting fact about our reality, that we are like in the movie Inception. If you have seen the movie, she actually mentions the movie to me. So I don't watch movies too much, but she really wanted me to watch this movie, because it's about beings dreaming. And then once they are in a dream, they start dreaming again, and then they dream dreams within dreams within dreams. And so on planet Earth, one of the things that happen is that beings, as you know, a very long time ago forgot that they were dreaming the world into being, and forgot that they are the ones who produce this dream. And so suddenly, like, look at our lives, right? And I'm going to speak from my very human perspective. When we don't know that this is a dream, we actually react to it with anger, with fear. We misuse life force to respond to something we created a while ago, because all that you see around you is the past. You can only see past around you, cannot see the present actually around you. When it comes to small human lives, and Divine Mother says, you know, the life that she creates is the capital L, and we create the small lives with, you know, small l. So our human lives, so our, you know, even if we are in other dimensions, our lives are really the small lives compared to the big adventure of life that is this cosmic creation. So you and I have done something which seems very, you know, almost hilarious, but it is really our problem here. We react to a dream we created with negative emotions and with so much attention. And she says, you know, these worlds are so mesmerizing, it is easy to forget what we are doing here. So this is the big unveiling here, and this is the big unveiling she really will want us to understand, because there are forces beyond us that are working on dissolving the dream that we co-created here before and that we see here now. And so this is really great, you know, because I still want to explain it a little bit more. She gave me this information today actually to share. So we are using not only our mind, which is not our brain, but really higher mind ideally, and we are using our own life force, which comes from source. It's very limited for us right now because we obviously have not been given so much life force on this planet right now for a really long time, because we have not proved to be very reliable and responsible. And some people may not like what I'm saying, because, you know, we don't often want to be responsible, but this is like it is. Divine Mother really is the one who distributes life force through her worlds. And normally all beings should receive 100% of what's being distributed to all equally. And then all beings should receive it into their minds and hearts. And then from there, create something very beautiful, expand creation to more perfection and be more creative and find new ways and always improve upon what is, like an artist who improves his skills or her skills. But what happened here on planet Earth, that is when beings started to misuse life force and forgot that they were dreaming. So it was like giving money to a child that is, an addict on heroin. So if you had a child who's addicted to heroin, you're not going to give them money because you don't want them to get the drug. So that's what happened here on planet Earth. Actually, it was almost like divinity decided that humans should not get all the life force because they just miscreate. And this is again an old story. This was what we would call the fall, and I don't want to call it fall from grace, but grace is the energy that comes from source. So if you understand how it works, you don't want to be connected to grace when you are not creating beautiful worlds. And again, this is just something we're fixing right now. And so I think it's good to understand what didn't go so well and what should go well now. So, because we forgot the art of dreaming, we got caught up in the loops of creation. Creation works the way that you actually, seen the yin and yang symbol. So this is very similar. Creation doesn't need duality to create. So like we need, light, and we need dark, let's say dark matter. We need day and night. We need deep and shallow. We need, all the dualities that we have that are actually useful dualities, tall and short. So these are just used as the two paintbrushes of Divine Mother for creating. These should be used beautifully. In the middle between all those is the portal that leads to source, which is the neutral field. This neutral field of intelligence, which is cosmic intelligence, in some traditions called Christ consciousness. But again, it's just a name that could mislead us to believe that it's Jesus and that through Jesus we return to source. And that's not true. It is actually that there is a field of intelligent, all-encompassing love between these loops of creation. And when we unify with this neutral love, and I sometimes call it indifferent love, then we actually go beyond creation into source itself. And that's a useful journey to take at times. So what happened here on planet Earth, and this is really simple, we got caught up in either one of the loops, right or left. And that's a great example, the right and left. So when you think about political systems, once you get caught up in one of the loops and you believe that one is right and one is wrong, and you believe that one is evil and one is really good, it doesn't even matter which loop you caught up in, you're actually creating imbalance in creation. And so these sides got unbalanced here on planet Earth, and this again will be repaired now, but we have to be participating in this repair work. That also created this belief that, death here is bad. And it's one of the big things that will need to be restored. It is the appreciation of transitions from one world to another world, because it's actually something to be really excited about. And I know that's not always the case on this planet. And that's something that we can restore in humanity, is the belief of how we perceive death. So what is the magical art of dreaming? So in the tarot cards, you see the magician has the infinity symbol above her or his head. And that is the true magic. True magic is knowing the loops of creation and not to get caught up in one of them. So the way that true magical art of dreaming happens is that the magician, which is you and me, we know that there is tall and short, but we do not prefer one, because then we would create the opposite of what we prefer. So let's say, I'll give you a great example. In this world, you surely will know when people are poor, let's say experience poverty, their desire is to create abundance. When people are sick, their desire is to create health. When, people are fat, their desire is to be slim. When people are ugly, their desire is to be beautiful, on and on and on, all of that. the thing is that when we find this satisfaction with the dream and we say, oh, I don't want this, I want something else, I don't want this, I want something else, then we are constantly creating the opposite of what we want. It's very strange how it works, but that is how this loop of creation works. So by saying, I really hate being poor, I really want to be rich, well, you are creating actually always the opposite of what you want, because that's how the loops work. But Divine Mother showed me how actually creation works without getting caught up in the loops. Of course, we want everyone to be abundant. Of course, we want everyone to be healthy. Of course, we want everyone to be safe. Of course, we want everyone to thrive. And so by completely being indifferent to the dream, because it's just a mirage, it's not, nothing around you is actually real. It is just a reflection of some past thinking of someone else or you. And so what you see in the world around you should not make you feel engaged. And it's very strange, but that's what all shamans find and all the yogis find. They all become indifferent to it, you know, like unshakably, completely non-attached, because they know the art of dreaming. The art of dreaming is that when I see something which I don't like, I cannot even give it one single emotion of dislike, even though it might be horrendous. But I know who I am, right? You know who you are. So you go like, oh, you know, somebody's suffering here. So let me quickly, without any investment of your life force, go into your heart, the sacred heart, fill it up with love, and without any, you know, imagery of what you have seen, go into all of that 100%, that which you love. So you create abundance for all, you create health for all, you create peace for all. And it's not because you didn't like something else, it's because you love what you're creating. So I don't know if that makes sense. All has to come from love, without the attention to that which you do not love. That is the magical art of dreaming. So you could go around your life and just constantly be paying attention to that which you love, and then that's what you create. And ideally for all, because right now, you know, we are in that stage where we're coming together as a collective, one body. And so what you create for yourself, you create for others. Now, this is really high magic. You are that. In your heart is something that looks like a crystal. It looks like almost like two pyramids on top of each other, you know, with their bottoms touching. So that is something inside your heart, and that is your creative space. When source light comes in, you don't want to limit yourself, but you always want to be creating something beautiful, something perfect. And if you cannot create anything, at least let the source light flow through you freely, you know, without any obstructions. So it's really, when I say empty your vessel, this is how we empty the vessel, because anything inside of you could stand in the way of source light flowing through you. That's why Divine Mother says, if you can just empty yourself, enjoy yourself, be in love with all life, pay attention to that which you love, because you cannot pay attention to a dream. It's like saying, this movie is so terrible, I want to watch it. I'm going to be so angry at this actor because this is what he did. And that's actually what we do in our lives. And so this is the end of that. Now, if you in the comments, okay, thank you. I want to know this makes sense, because this is the most important thing we need to learn in 2021. We have this amazing window of opportunity. I'll tell you how this window of opportunity happened. Every day when you wake up, it seems like you are on the same planet, in the same space, with the same people, who knows what. But every day when you wake up, you are actually in a completely new time space. So time space is something that is the way that our planet relates to the rest of not just solar system, but the entire cosmos. So as everything moves and everything shifts, this is how astrology works, then every day actually is completely different. Every day we have new opportunities that we, let's say, we face the galactic core, we face Sirius, we face, you know, the polar stars. So every single day is completely different. And actually, as if you know how astrology works, you actually are facing a whole new world every single moment. And this is so incredible. So what is happening for planet Earth right now? She is going through this amazing new time space that is so different from anything we have ever seen on this planet, ever. And this new time space is creating these opportunities for us humans to do this, to realize we all have been dreaming, but we forgot that we were dreaming. So I told you I travel out of body. So when I travel out of body, one of my missions actually that I take on, and I'm sure that a lot of you have your missions, you know, and this is really not about me, but I just want to say it how I experience this, because then we come together as these puzzle pieces. I know that you and me are from the same body. I know who we are. We all are these amazing fractals of one cosmic body, and everyone is extremely valuable. But when some of us start resonating differently and little on higher octaves of frequencies and vibrations, or when we activate the rainbow body, then everyone in this entire world, and I'm just talking right now about planet Earth, can have access to that information which you brought in. So I'm bringing in this information, and you bringing, you know, maybe similar, same information, different, it doesn't matter. So the information that I bring is I travel out of body, and I, as I said, use Om. I really think that's a really great way to travel. And I travel to beings who are on the brink of realizing that they are in a dream. And so I travel in this human world, and I actually meet with those of you and others who are questioning reality, and they say, is this possible that I am dreaming? And when we get together, the two of us, and we realize at the same time, like I can help the person to actually realize, and it has to be in this energetic field, that we are dreaming, then the world as we dreamt it begins to dissolve, and we can have actually a new reality that we can co-create. So it's really fun, and it's really great to be able to do this work together, all of us. I made a video, I think it was in March. In March last year, I experienced something that is really actually important. And I know that many of you have experienced it. I have people who email me the same thing. They experienced in March, or actually last year even, suddenly they could travel out of body to 12 dimensions. And so that's what happened to me. I realized that we exist in 12 dimensions, and I was able to travel through all of them, again, using Om. And once you understand how the 12 dimensions work, you really realize, I would say, such a big chunk about life and what it is and how it works and how you need to live. And so I brought with me this message that is called the Cherokee's Grandmother's Message to Humanity. It's on our Green Tara YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's actually a long video, like 30 minutes, but it has the pure message about what happened in the past, how the planetary body of Mother Earth actually got misaligned, how it changed the electromagnetic field. And so the planetary grid, and it also explains a lot of things, like, have you thought about why we only use one hand, really, most of us? Why we have a non-dominant hand? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you don't have a non-dominant foot. Why would you have non-dominant hand? And this is all the result of our misalignment. Our brain, she told me, used to be one brain. So we would have one mind, and we would be equal, you know, inside of us, within us would be wholeness. It would be the divine feminine, divine masculine aligned as one. But it got split when the electromagnetic field of the Earth split, really, too. And so this misalignment is within us, but also it's around us. So it's really a, you know, double misalignment. We humans are misaligned, but also the electromagnetic field is misaligned. And she told me that when it happened, it was instantaneous. So suddenly people, and I actually experienced it myself, she took me to that past so that I felt it. It would be like you having dinner with your family. Suddenly something happens in a split second, and you go like, oh, I wonder what that was. And suddenly you completely forget everything that ever happened, but it just feels really weird. But then you keep on going, and you know something happened, but you're really not sure what happened. And suddenly you have a sense like, oh yeah, of course I do have a past, but you know, it was almost like erasing the memory of human beings. And you know, that was actually a problem, of course, because we started to live in the separate reality, away from our entire system, disconnected from all the galactic beings, disconnected from other worlds. And it is because of the electromagnetic misalignment of planet Earth. What it also did to us is that not only did we suddenly feel alone, not suddenly humans were so much in their, either a woman or a man. So it created the lack of unity consciousness. But she told me that what's going to happen now, and she doesn't always give me dates, but when she gives me dates, they don't have a year attached to it. But she told me that our electromagnetic field will be restored the way that it used to be, the ancient original planetary grid. And when it happens, it will be the same kind of story. Within a second, bam, we will be in a whole new world. And I really hope that we get to experience it, because again, it should happen in a blink of an eye. And suddenly you don't even know that you existed before in this misaligned world, because she told me that our memory will be erased. And sometimes she can tell me things that might happen, who knows when. But this is a great story. I think that I always absolutely trust everything she tells me. In a blink of an eye, we will restore back to balance. The rainbow body of the earth will be restored, and they will erase our memory of all this misalignment and all the suffering that humanity had to, experience, because it would not be useful to bring it with us. So I recommend the video. So this is the new earth, the new grid that already is here after December 21st, but it is not activated. It is still dormant, and I can call it the new earth grid. It's like a new TV channel that is running already, so you can travel to the new earth, but we are still in the old TV channel. So our old TV channel really needs to dissolve, and we will be creating this new TV channel. This is how it works, every reality is a dream reality. It's okay. That's how it should be. The only thing is that if you start believing everything on the outside, you forget that you are creating it from within. And that's what we really need to remember. We are creating everything from within. So the new earth is really something that we are co-creating. I recommend the movie Avatar when I traveled to the new earth. And I know, again, many of you have traveled there. It's actually a paradise of nature where everything that beings are doing is integrated into nature. So nature becomes the most dominant element of all that is. And humans have to learn the art of what Mother calls divine mimicry. So mimicking nature and not being the dominant species on planet Earth, but being in harmony with all beings that are evolving on that new Earth. So I have traveled to the new earth several times, and it really always is kingdom of nature with some humans, and that's very different from what we have here. So again, it is, yes, it will be Avatar minus all the drama. And we will, have beautiful bodies. I haven't seen myself as a blue being, but let's see how we come into it. So the last time I traveled to the new earth, and again, when you travel out of your body and you start chanting Om, you will be met by your guides, and then your guides take you different places. So on January 9th this year, Divine Mother took me to the new earth, and I had a meeting there with several beings, and the beings that I met with are, I would call them guardians of humanity. Now, I have several missions that I know I have, because I've always known when you come here to planet Earth on this rescue mission, then you have to know your mission, because that's what happened in the past. We would send beings here, and as soon they arrive in this darkness, because our grid was pretty dark, then they would forget who they are. So it's kind of like a great gift, actually, when you are here as amazing beings, and I know many of you, and you know what you're doing and you haven't forgotten. That is absolutely incredible. It's a gift to all humanity. So for me, I know that I have worked on planetary healing before, and the way I have done it before, I go to worlds, and I am something that's called a scribe, and that's just one of the missions. And so I go to worlds and I bring through all the creator beings with me, and they work with me to bring energy that is like diamond vortices. And we just sit together, and in a very special condition, we scribe into human words or whatever language is being used. We just use words, and then we encode the words, not with meaning, but we encode the words with this diamond source energy. And so when I went to the new earth on January 9th, I met with all these creator beings that really love humanity and want to help humanity to end this old dream. And I was given the task to sit down for 33 consecutive days, every single evening, which is what I do at 5:55 p.m., to do as many meditations as I can all day long to align with these beings, and then to open my third eye and let the energy through these creator beings come in. And I perceive it as just they, talk to me and we just write. And I have been doing that every single day. They told me that these 33 codes need to be distributed in printed form around the earth to create these vortices of diamond light. And this is not a marketing gig. This is just, absolute pure selfless service that we will do. I know many of us who will do this. So we have some amazing artists. Claudia has been working on these codes every single day in our Green Tara team, and the whole team that we have, the Green Tara Earth Guardians, they support this work every single day with that amazing alignments, energy, and just incredible download of knowledge, wisdom, and light. So these codes, I was told, will be the trigger for igniting the new grid, which really is the ancient grid. And as they are distributed like this around the world in different cities and portals, the power in the book, let's call it a book, it's actually a sacred text. The power will be that the person doesn't even have to read the book, it really doesn't matter. But the book itself will be emanating this vortex of diamond light. And when enough vortices are around the world, it will trigger the switching on of the grid. To me, that's absolutely miraculous. And so that's what we are doing right now. The codes, I post them on Facebook, but I also on the website on the greentara.guru. This is the purpose of who we are. We are to become vortices of diamond light, where spirit and matter meet in this vortex of rainbow light through the heart. And so each one of you have a great mission. If you don't know your specific mission, you can embody this mission to be an anchor of light that you bring from source and other worlds, but ideally source energy, and you anchor it into the earth. Again, this is something that really fully works only when the heart is open. And I think that's why humanity has such a hard time, because our hearts, for most of us, are not open hearts. So here we have what many people talk about, source, not source. Many people talk about unity consciousness. And I wanted to explain that because, again, it's a name. So when we all start saying unity consciousness, we all lose actually the meaning behind it. So when source sees us, it doesn't see your human life. It doesn't see your human vessel. It doesn't see anything else but the perfection of you. And this counts for absolutely everyone. The perfection of you is your rainbow body, which actually is your essence. It's your original self. And that's what it looks like. So when source sees you and sees someone who is, let's say, for me, this is how I received this lesson, seeing someone who is on the streets of San Francisco begging for money, a drunk alcoholic, who knows what. Source sees the same being in you as well as everyone else, no matter what. So to source, we all must absolutely be unified, because we all are just that one field of rainbow light, and that is unity consciousness. And so that's what we should be, not only practicing, but really embodying and living to see that light in all that is. And I wanted to speak about, we just have 2 minutes left, so I wanted to speak about this team that we have, the Green Tara Earth Guardians. This is our core team, our really dedicated team of incredible beings, talented artists, healers, visionaries, magicians, and I want to say, hi Magick. What we do, we have been meeting every single day at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We either meet in spirit or online, and we do an alignment. So we have other people who have wonderfully joined us lately. We do really high level stuff. And I say high level because you have to be not just playing with light. You actually have to know what you're doing, and that requires integrity, that requires reliability. And I don't mean, you know, showing up every day, but I mean knowing what you're doing with life force, and then responsibility. And so that's what we do. And we have grown this team to be a little bigger. I would love, actually, for some of you who feel really called to be part of this dedicated service, to join our group. And you are welcome to reach to any of us through our Facebook, or you can, you know, send a message through the website. This is really important work that we have been doing, and we will continue to do. I know that I will receive more information from all our guides after the 33 codes have been delivered. So today, I think it's code 30 that will come through. No, yeah, 30. Yes, there was 29. And so this is amazing. I just really feel that we will do this, you know, we will not fail. And I often listen to Matthias de Stefano. I listen to him actually every day. I really follow his work because I personally know Matthias from the field of creation, and I meet with him out of body. So I know that what we're doing here, we just all are, there are so many of us here doing the same thing. We all just want to create harmony and alignment in the new grid, so that the old grid can turn off, and so that all beings can live in this amazing awareness of who they are, connected to the galactic worlds, and being able to create from the bottom of their hearts the dream that they really will love. And when we love the dream that we live, we start living life fully. And really, that is the big picture. Goddess life, whatever you call her, she really creates, but she does have one kind of desire, and that would be to be loved by creation. You know, it's a reflection. So it's like you and your kids, you want your kids to love you just like she wants to love her, but not to love her as a personality, but to love her as life. So when you don't like your life, you are really saying, I don't love Divine Mother. And so, all right, guys, if you have any questions, I'm going to stop recording. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's been a full hour. Great information, I hope, for all of us that came today, is about, you know, how do we practice this high art of magic? And this is how we do it, and awakening from the dream. So thank you, guys. Let me stop recording, and I'm going to stay on for a bit if anyone has any questions.